So, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Moodhamate. Simple translation is recall, remember, and relive in that state of consciousness which is our nature. And the master is addressing fool. Oh, fool. No, it is not addressing to all of us, those who are fool. Last week, one medical student contacted me. I normally have a free session, first time. He asked me what the hell is awakening. He's a very bright student that I can observe. Can you give me few classes that results me into awakening? So I will treat my patients with an awakened state. I asked him, how many years your medical degree is? 4 years plus another 3 to 6 years of residency. So almost, even if you calculate 5 hours per day, almost 30 hours per week, almost, take an example of 100 hours per week, 1200 hours multiplied by 5, 6 years, 7,200 hours. You want to reach to a state, there is a permanent peace and happiness. And you are saying that what the hell awakening is. You cannot get the degree even if you don't complete 4 years of your medical degree. Means almost 5,000 hours you are spending on it. And you are telling me that give me the few classes. Eastern wisdom is highly structured, organized, systematic study to reach to that state. It is possible. It is possible. You need not to spend 5,000 hours. And you are the testimony for it. How come? You wake up in the morning until you retire to the bed, days after days. Anxiety, stress, duality, conflict do not touch you. You're there. It can happen in a few days. It cannot happen even after years of the practice. Sometimes you don't see that. You have a medical degree and still you don't behave and act like a doctor. You have completed 6 years, 7 years, 10 years. But still, because you have a degree, you have a certification, you can do the practice. Your behavior and attitude does not change. But here it doesn't work. My behavior, my attitude changes completely. If that does not change, that is not going to come out and express yourself into that state of consciousness. Take an example. Kindness plus delusion. So you have an attitude of the kindness, but plus you have a delusion. It results into hypocrisy. It does not bring any result. You need not to change your attitude having any degree and certification, even from the Harvard or Ivy colleges. But here, change in attitude and a behavior results into change in perception. And change in perception results into the knowledge of the real self. If that does not change, nothing is going to happen. And sometimes it takes long time to recognize that I have to change myself. So what I said, kindness plus delusion. Suffering continues. And what happens? You start blaming the world. Blaming the world. Nothing is happening. The entire complaining and reaction. Kindness plus dispassion. From the day one, you change your attitude. You change your behavior. You start living. You get a flash. No, now I the goal is very near. You all are seekers. You have been tolerating me for a couple of years, but hardly 3 hours a week. Not like a medical certification where you spend, you spend minimum 100 hours per month. Minimum. My friends, it's a journey once undertaken and once you are committed. One thing is sure that you constantly grow. There is an inner growth. You recognize those moments of delusion, and the moment you recognize, you move into a state of dispassion, you change your attitude. You start feeling it. If you start feeling it, you start experiencing it, you are growing, you are evolving. Listening and learning, I have told you, listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, plus the practice should continue. Delusion is a false belief or impression that is firmly maintained since our childhood. If you are a child prodigy, then there is no problem. And this text was written by a child prodigy. He left more than 200 books and literature at the age of the 32. He influenced the entire journey of the Eastern wisdom in 8th century. All the masters, his interpretation, but he was an extempore poet, and this is what his poetry is. So he has written on every subject of ignorance, and one of them is the delusion. So he said, "Oh, fool." So now we have to understand what exactly is this fool. There is a fool, and there is a mad, and there is a wise. There are three words. So normally he says the fool makes a silly and a poor choices in the life. A mad person is irrational, mentally unstable. I have been in the profession in the past and Christianized there. So when we say mad, obviously it has to, we say that one is mentally ill. We can excuse them. A fool acts silly in spite of knowing it. And a wise person has a deep understanding that leads to a good judgment. A fool lacks awareness. A mad person lacks reason. A wise person has developed insight through their experience, and that experience comes in the Eastern wisdom by listening and learning, contemplation and reflection. You see, all the three states, whether one is a fool or a mad or wise, there's a difference between the mental state. Do you see that? There's a difference between the mental state and a behavior. So what happens, when he is addressing that, oh, why, fool, Bhajagovindam, remember, recall, and relive in the real self. It only demands a movement from the lack of awareness to the self-awareness. And that is why mindfulness is known as a state of awareness, which a mad cannot return to it. He needs a lot of practices, lot of understanding, in cases of in cases of mental illnesses like split personality, they live in those hallucinations. A fool can recognize, but still he does it. He acts unwisely, imprudently, without thinking through the decisions. Mad person is angry, irrational, uncontrolled in their behavior. And a wise person, we already have a clarity. You are listening and learning. You develop your discernment and dispassion, followed by the practice in order to get rid of that madness plus foolishness. Enough is enough. I will divorce you. Instant decision. With a person you lived for so many years. Think of it. So he's saying murdh mate. In Sanskrit, we say murdh mate. Mate means intellect, and murdh means foolish intellect. Oh, wise fool, don't get deluded. Don't get deluded at any point of your time. You maintain your awareness. Why? To live wisely. But why? To recognize that we are the real self of the nature of permanent peace and happiness. How simple it looks. Christina was saying how simple it is. On Saturday, she was saying that how simple it looks. So the master name, the child prosody, was Shankaracharya, who lived in 8th century. So he was moving into the street with many of his disciples near the Ganges River in Varanasi. And he saw and heard a 90-year-old guy. I'm breaking your delusion by this story. So he saw the 90-year-old guy. He was chanting the mantra loudly and teaching to his students the meaning of the mantra. He was teaching the grammar behind that mantra. I need not to understand the grammar behind the mantra. I need not to understand the language behind that mantra. I say Shantoham, you say I am peace. That will work. So Shankaracharya recognized the delusion part of it. What is the delusion part of it? That I'm putting my knowledge in the intellect, but I'm not allowing that knowledge to descend down into my heart. That is what majority of the people do. Now I understand meditation. I understand mindfulness. Oh, there is no problem. Just focus on the breath, and it is done. Is it so easy? Can you focus on the breath even for a minute? When your mind is already visiting, mind is wandering, can you reach to that state? You focus on the breath rate changes. Buddha says, do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Just you are simply aware of the breath. The moment you focus, you are making an effort. And the very effort builds the ego. And the son of ego is the delusion. You see, I'm saying son of the ego is the delusion. And from the delusion, we get upset. It is an effortless process. It demands only an understanding. But in the beginning, we need a lot of practices. So he was addressing that 90-year-old that you are studying simply the book and you are teaching the grammar behind the mantra. It does not bring any result. What you are doing, and you have wasted your 90 years of life. and you claim that you are a monk, you are a master. And there instantly he started creating this poem. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Moodhamati. Oh, fool. So he's addressing that 90 years old. He's not addressing all of us, so we should be happy. He's not addressing any of us. So he is addressing to that 90-year-old guy, Moodhamate, you are fool what you are doing. You have to remember, you have to become aware of that real self which dwells within you behind the body mind complex. That is what every mantra represents. And you are stretching and explaining the mantra. It will not work. It will not work. Think of this. We have to get rid of those. No, I have understood the no, I have understood the practice. Be careful. You have understood the practice and your son enters the room and you get angry. You have not understood anything. You find a difficult situation in your life and you are not able to maintain your calm. Delusion is still there. Delusion is still there. Why? You lose your calm, but the real self is of the nature of the peace and happiness, and you lost your calm. Because of the outer situation, because of the outer condition, because of the uh, mom and dad and son and children and near and the dear ones, the long list. I'm impacted by the outer situation, the world and the people, pain and the pleasure, hot and the cold. You have lost your track of awareness, even if you have practiced meditation for 10 years regularly. You did not recognize the part of the delusion. No, I have an urgency. That's why I'm not attending a session, obviously. What kind of an urgency you have? What kind of an urgency we can have in the world outside? Tell me. From one, from one delusion, we move to the another delusion. That is the nature of the world. World is in constant flux. It is going to change. For example, I'm fully busy. Okay, why you are busy? To be in peace and happiness. I will ask you after 10 years, are you not busy? You will remain busy until you die. I have to break that notion that I'm fully busy. Why I'm busy? I'm busy in the world outside. The world is constantly changing. The situation, people, relationships are constantly changing. And I have put pressure on my mind because once today I'm fully busy, tomorrow I will be free. Tomorrow never comes. If you don't believe, think of it. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow comes, you have a problem in the valley. Again, you are fully busy. Time is here and now. Have you heard about it? Mindfulness is here and now. I'm just taking you there. Time is here and now. Think of this. Delusion has created a havoc in our life. This master goes through each and every aspect in the world of relations, of the people, in the things and attachment, and how we get the pain and how we get upset. He explains in a very simple way in the form of a poetry. Another delusion. That I will achieve the state of mindfulness by material means, not possible. Not at all possible. I have material means, I don't have it, still I can achieve it. That real self is independent of anything in the world outside. That knowledge must be settled completely, 100%, and that takes time. Seed does not become a tree overnight. See that knowledge does not cannot be realized on a single day. You have to give some time. That is why in formal education we have 4 years degree, 5 years, 6 years degree. That's why I gave an example of a doctor. I told you last time, my senior, I was already going to my master every day in those days when I got my first job in the federal government. That women who had 20 years, she said, I have 20 years of experience. I did not say anything. I waited for an year. And she was constantly repeating, I have 20 years more experience than you. After 1 year, I learned everything. And I told her that you don't have 20 years of experience. You have only 1 year of experience repeated 20 times. I have more experience than you. Because I recognized her weaknesses, what she was not able to do. We follow a monotonous, habitual life, impulsive life. In meditation, in the journey of awakening, this monotonous, habitual life will not work. Will not work. I have to get out of those obsessions, that sense of the ego that I have 20 years of experience. Even now, I cannot say that. I cannot say that. Understand that. So this master is going to help us to remove the delusion which we are not aware, which we have not noticed in our life. And that causes our stress and anxiety and duality. So this master is going to educate us how suffering comes from the delusion. We don't see the impermanent nature of the world, our relationship, of the people outside, my body, my mind, my emotions, my intellect, and that results into millions of delusions. So this poetry educates us to devote, to commit to the real self, who we are. That permanent peace, happiness, love, and truth and wisdom. Otherwise, we will continue. We have constant blame, complaint, reaction, duality, conflict, anxiety. How many times we have that in every day? Accumulate that, you will find out how many types of delusion we have. You don't know. You don't know I carry the burden of suffering for the last 10 years. Now you are repeating it. You are habituated it. That stress event of the stress happened 10 years ago and you are still feeding it. We don't realize it. We don't recognize it. Delusion. I can give you millions of examples. Every moment in your life, in 1 hour you are talking to me, I can give you at least 50 moments, the way you have expressed your thought and your speech and your action. That delusion has taken over us. That is the only problem. Whether you say delusion or ignorance or duality or a conflict or ego, they all more or less have a different degree of expression, but they all are the same. I get influenced by short lived pleasure. I'm eating in a restaurant and I find a food of my taste, and oh, what a great taste. And I lose myself. 1 gram of pleasure. I explained last week. You continue to collect 1 gram or 5 grams of pleasure by eating a food of your choice for 10 years. It cannot be equivalent to 1 unit of happiness. Pleasure has come and gone. Pleasure has come and gone. But to recognize that food contains the pleasure is a delusion. So should I not go to the restaurant and go there? What should you do? Remember, remember, repeat and relive in the real self. That pleasure is a reflection of the happiness coming from within you. It is not coming from the food. It is not coming from the good car that you buy. It is not coming from 1 hour of standing before the mirror and you superimposed lot of stuff on your face. No, sorry to say, but that is the fact. That is the fact. So we always remain independent of that state. We remain independent of, and in that sense of independence, I experience that peace and happiness and the joy flowing out of me, in spite of the situation, in spite of the condition, in spite of the relationship. Explain it, the word awakening. That is what the awakening. I awaken to my real nature, which has no parallel to any experience in the world outside. It has taken over the delusion, it has taken over the ignorance. Ignorance is gone, and we have reached to that state, my friend. Self inquiry is required, repeat listening is required, plus a constant practice is required, and then this is the best way. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Murdhamate. So I have to address myself. I'm fool, I have been fool in this situation because I experienced the anxiety and then I got upset. And then, I have to find out the series, I have to simply contemplate, relive. When you relive, you are self aware, you get out of that state instantly. But this applies to a seeker, not to a non seeker. That's why you see that in in the university, when you are studying medicine, they first teach you anatomy. They don't teach you microbiology and physiology. It has to be step by step. Our mind should be reoriented in any subject, in any stream. That is the way we have understood. So we'll start, from the first verse of the poetry in the next session. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, and being comfortable. You're comfortable. I'm repeating, I'm not going back to explain you that how you have to be comfortable and how you have to be carefree. Simply, I said, find out the most comfortable position of the body. Eyes are gently closed, and you are settled in the comfort and carefree. That help you reflect in your mind that are you really a seeker You have already undergone an orientation. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Now see another interpretation. These mantras are so beautiful. Simple meaning, may there be happiness for all. What exactly I'm saying, what my mind is learning. My mind is learning that there is a happiness all pervading, present in all the beings, at all the time, in all the locations. I am bypassing the delusion. Just see that point. Now I have a pain in the body. Ah, it is pain in the body, not in me. Delusion is gone. Now I cannot stay for a longer period in the state of the stillness. Who? The body. Who is saying mind? How it is saying the delusion? We have to move to that state of contemplation and reflection while practicing meditation. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Can you expand your mind horizon? Why I'm seeking peace for all? Because peace is there only. Look at it. Pay attention to it. So that is the meaning of the journey. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. That I, which you call I, is settled in the real self, which says I'm complete in myself. I don't have any desire. Hence, I'm not busy. Still, I'm busy. I'm doing all my activities. I'm attending your. I'm giving you this lesson. After that, I have a couple of more lessons. So my mind experiences that sense of the freedom coming from that real self, not engaged in deluded notion that I am so busy. Think of it. You have to contemplate and reflect. Reach to that level of awareness. Why? Bhaj Govindam, Govindam, Bhaj Muramati. Because there is a self remembrance. The I is settled in the knowledge of the real self. And what is the knowledge? Knowledge is, itself is the real self. No, no, how do you say that? That is pure consciousness. Consciousness does not change. If it does not change, how can you say you're busy? Sarvesham, Sarvesham, Mangalam Bhavatu. Hence, there is an auspiciousness here and now all the time in my life. You are reflecting, you are getting rid of those moments of the delusion that is still working at the subconscious level. I don't want to use the subconscious word because it comes from the modern psychology. We say it comes from the vasanas, the past impression, the impulsive nature that we have accumulated over the years. And the mind doesn't want to break that notion. And now the time has come for continue. We will continue with the breathing part of it. So, my friends, look deep inside. Look deep inside the forehead in the space. Start dropping Om Shanti. With the pause I told you, and with pause, start breathing quick and short and gentle breath into the rib cage. And I know if the Terry can do it in that sixth state of the body, Anyone can do it. So, but if you cannot do it, it means what? Delusion. And you are doing without any resistance. You recognize if there is any resistance, you bypass it. How? By enduring it. What is endurance? You keep on doing it. You don't listen to the objections. Oh, that is the meaning. I told you, seed does not become a tree overnight. Body doesn't move except the rib cage. There is an expansion and contraction. Om Shanti continues gently deep inside your forehead. There you drop it. And the breath expands and contracts the rib cage, and you continue the journey. I've already revealed that you're doing 4 minutes of the first two breathing and 3 minutes of the third one. And many of you have shared that, it's so easy for me. Continue the journey, no stopping in between. Who stops? Delusion. How? By thought, by resistance, by putting you into some form of an anxiety and a reaction. And you don't listen to them, you bypass. That is the meaning of Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Mudhamate, Bhaj Mudhamate, Govindam, Bhaj Mudhamate. Continue the journey. I know you all are seekers. Seeker never fails. That much I know. Continue the journey. And stop it. You recognize the resistance, the experiences, and bring your awareness on the flow of the breath. Whichever flow is less, you pay attention there. Why you pay attention? So the flow of the breath becomes equal to both the nostrils, and there you stay. That is so wonderful a state. Should I tell you a secret? Without the breathing, without the mantra, at any point of time, in any situation, you just bring your awareness on the flow of the breath, and if they both are equal, you will find that you are already calm. You are reliving in that state. When? In all locations. That is why we are. So we will replace this breathing with that passive state of the practice. Let the time come. Now, keep looking inside the forehead, Om Shanti, and start the belly breathing. This time, expansion and contraction of the belly. It's a longer breath. The mind, no, it holds your attention of the mind on the breath and continuously, which prevents the distraction. Distraction is a kind of delusion. And you maintain that by endurance. You see, lot of subtle details are there. So I'll be explaining all the subtle details. Why? So that the knowledge should be settled. Continue, my friends. Continue, my friends. Continue the breathing. You simply recognize the resistance. You are not carried away by the resistance. That is the knowledge. I believe you all are getting into it. So what will happen in your life? You have some pain or mental or emotional pain, but you are not carried away by it. In that moment, you recognize you are different from it in your relations, in your life. I'm taking you there. And stop it. Recognition plus awareness of the flow of the nostril. If both the flow are equal, Wonderful. If not, whichever is the less flow, you pay attention there and you will see within a few seconds the flow of the breath becomes equal. I told you that gradually we are moving to a higher level of awareness where without any breathing, we will be able to balance the flow of the breath and continue to extend our awareness on the flow of the breath where is going to happen. You can't imagine. Anytime, anywhere. Looking inside the forehead, the third breathing, both into the belly and the ribs. Continue with the Om Shanti. You are aware of the belly expansion and the chest expansion during inhalation, and during exhalation, you find the squeezing. Keep on, continue. Long, deep, hissing breath. You will also recognize that both the flow of the nostrils have even become equal while inhaling and exhaling. That is a wonderful moment. Continue long, deep, hissing breath, and also recognize as if the flow of the breath through the nostrils are equal. And do nothing. Flow of the nostril you're aware of. Which flow is less? You pay attention. If the equal flow is there, just stay with it. In this journey, we find some indicators, and gradually we will get out of those indicators also. Now, looking inside the cave of your heart, visualize the triangle of any color, equilateral, and you're able to see first point of awareness moving on the side, second point of awareness, mind, third is dropping the Om Shanti, clockwise and anti-clockwise to see if it is sinking. It may happen the sink may come only just moving once. And if that happens, just be aware of the center of the triangle, sing mentally long Om, pushing the mind inside the cave of the heart, seemingly stops what? Mind. Shanti and your absorption. Pay attention there. If it doesn't happen, don't fight, no resistance. Return again to the triangle. Please, no resistance, no fighting. That fighting and resistance is also a part of the delusion. When I am of the nature of peace and happiness, why should I fight? And go to the japa, mind's eye, mind's touch, mind's tongue. You definitely recognize all the senses are living inside the mind and doing Om Shanti, dropping at 16 segments of a finger that we have already understood in our previous sessions. Sometime you get variety of experiences. Your segment of a finger have a bubbling sensation. It increases. It covers the entire body. Sometimes we have vision in the colors. We just witness them and we continue. We are not carried away by any one of them. Sometimes the body moves, it is because I identifies with the body. You simply recognize, do not fight, no resistance at all. An easy flow comes when we are aware. The flow is disrupted. We already discussed that. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both your palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences, bring the hands down. We'll share all our experiences. How are you, Samir?
Sir, it was very deep and total darkness was there, and everything. It looks like something means darkness is going inside me. When you told me not to push
Yeah.
when in the triangle, so something was pushing inside my heart, and I was going more deeper, and I was enjoying the situation. Means as you were pushing, means something was pushing inside me, and I was enjoying total process of what was happening.
Beautiful. Patanjali says it is Pratyak Chetana. Pratyak Chetana means the inward moving mind. I recognize the inward moving mind. I do not move the mind with it. Do you see the difference between the two? You are sitting and mind is inward. That is the way. Wonderful, good experience. How are you, David?
Good morning. Thank you. Um, Yeah, just a really, really good meditation. It like simple and fresh and clean. And during the breathing, I had a light indigo color, but I could see yellow or lime, like your green on the wall behind you, or the whatever that is behind you, type color that was predominant through the entire meditation. And as I got into the heart center, the indigo color was like rich blue, kind of like
Right.
Dennis's eye. So it was very, very deep.
Simple, easy, and effortless. That indicates, the easy flow of the mind and the colors and why it happened. Because last time everyone shared that breathing was so easy. So it was 5 minutes, 4 minutes, and 3 minutes today. So we have to go to 6 minutes. We are going to wonderful, wonderful David. Jerry is not there?
She did a sleepover at Jordan's place last night.
Oh, okay.
Our
How are
daughter.
you? Okay. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thank you. During my meditation, I remembered something you said before. Are you working on the mind, or is the mind working on you? And that kind of became a little bit of a mantra for me, that I'm working on the mind, right? And Vaibhav, I thought of you on the weekend because I had a nightmare, and before I even came out of the dream, my mind told me, like, this is not real, right? This is a dream. That was part of your sharing out the other Saturday or Thursday or something. So I was like, wow. I mean, it worked before I even fully came to consciousness, working on the mind.
Thank you for remembering me, but also the principle. That is more important. We will do PhD on whether you are working on the mind or mind is working. No, that is just a lighter note. I know you understand it. Are you, Christina?
Thank you. I appreciate the laughter and humor. I noticed I was shifting from thinking about breathing to just being with the breath, and it was very much a lot of ease, very different experience, and a lot of shivers or chills throughout the.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a beautiful. You see that this is a very good. That is why we share the experiences. Just being with the breath, or I focus on the breath to do the breathing. These are the two different states of the mind. And that is how the mindfulness was discovered by these masters who says it is an effortless, natural state of awareness. But unless we complete the PhD, we cannot reach there. So, how are you, Dennis? I don't see you.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah, now I see you, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. What I noticed today during the final step of the breathing is like this imaginary pipe where the breath moves. It like expanded so much that I had trouble doing the hissing sound on the exhale, because the capacity of this pipe expanded so much that I could breathe in so much air and I could breathe it out so fast that there was no hissing sound when doing exhale. Other than that, the meditation was very deep and very good.
It's a really wonderful, you all are sharing your experiences. Now, if you remember these experiences will be exchanged during the practice. And what he noticed that during the exhalation of the third breathing, it was not the hissing breath, it was the total clear breath without any noise. What it indicates, the flow of the breath has become equal. The same thing comes with the indigo color. Same thing happens with the indigo color. Same thing happens when you are simply aware that I have to work on the mind. So these variety of those experiences helps us, and they will come and go. Sometimes one experience dominates and dictates over the other based on our past impression, based on our personality, our attitude. This is what happens. So are you ready to speak, Terry, or no? If no, it's okay.
I can, I think. I noticed a lot of trouble doing more than one thing at a time, a lot of effort and a lot of resistance. And I kept forgetting the Shanti, but my
Good.
brain was kept saying Haji Govinda instead of Shanti, which is so much more, you would think that would be harder to say, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was easy. And it wanted to say that. And I had a thought that I wondered how much ego is involved in my desire to succeed.
Yes, yes.
That's all.
Don't bring that ego. Just move with the flow and just, as Christina was saying, that I was being with the breath instead of breathing. That's a wonderful way. The same way everyone, shared differently. But that makes a sense that, mind was going inside. It was the inward moving mind. That is the same thing, more or less the same thing. I told you that we have to do PhD in this work. Once you do that, you know all each and every minute aspects of the journey. And we say, oh, mindfulness, effortless practice, that medical student. My honey was saying that you have a greater tolerance power. I said, is it an appreciation or a complaint? She just kept quiet, Don't tell my honey, you all know my honey. So, are you ever,
Thank you, sir. Sir, mine was smooth, practice was smooth, it's calm.
Calm. Wonderful. That's a beautiful throughout the journey. How are you? So, yes, Ashok.
Hello. Sir, the mind was quiet and calm, and flow was uniform. I
Good.
mean, almost equal. Yes. So
Beautiful.
it is good.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I was
Thank
just
you. Thank you,
talking
sir.
to her. I have to maintain my awareness. I have a greater tolerance power, what it means. So she is notifying that I don't have that much of tolerance. That is my way of life. That is also a delusion. That is also a delusion. But can I say to her, no, unless you are ready, only then I can say. If you are not ready, we don't say anything. We don't say anything.
Mm.
If I say anything, it becomes a part of the ego. You live your life, I live my life. That nature must be settled in us in any situation with all of the relations in the world. Then we can find that moment. Thank you, my friends. Welcome. We will meet
Thank
again.
you, sir. Namaste,
Namaste.
everyone.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.